Welcome. Tonight we are doing a very special live stream about attracting the right clients. I'm hopping on here a few minutes early because I do want to share this live stream in some of the other groups that I am currently either facilitating or belonging to. So just hang tight. We're going to be starting right at 8 o'clock. Here's the dealio. As we're waiting for people to come on tonight, feel free to pop your questions in. Hey, Care Bear, how are you? Thanks for joining me tonight, my friend. Feel free to jump in and put your questions inside of the live stream. Because tonight, here's the deal. Like, there is actually, I'm talking and trying to coordinate this at the same time. There's going to be a lot of discussion around this topic because for a lot of you who are really wanting to position yourself in front of your ideal clients, you're spinning your wheels, you're like throwing things at a wall, hoping that's going to stick. There's going to be a few things I'm going to share with you tonight that might help you. In fact, I know it will help you as it relates to streamlining some of your efforts, as it relates to getting more clients in your pipeline. So if you are not getting the clients you currently want, or if you are getting clients here and there and they're just not coming in as fast, you'll definitely want to stick around for this. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and put inside of a few groups that I have here that we are getting ready to get this party started. So just hang tight. Let me do this one other little thing here. Let's see here, you guys are rocking and rolling. And again, if you're just coming on for tonight's live stream, definitely you wanna be sure to pop in some questions, and I will be doing my best to make sure that we get the questions answered. So let's see here. So we are coming right up on 8 o'clock. So here's the deal. If you're joining me for the very first time, my name is Erica Castner. Obviously, since you're on my Erica Castner page, I am a business and breakthrough coach that's dedicated to helping people, professionals and companies master the art of productive partnerships. And so tonight, what we're talking about is client attraction. In some areas that I work in, I also help with team development and employee retention aspects. But for tonight, my friends, this is for people that are wanting to expand their client awareness or wanting to get out there and position themselves in front of streams of clients that are going to work with them, that are going to step right up to the plate, and they are going to clamor at the bit to work with you, right? Who doesn't want that? So I've got a few things that I wrote down on some notes here. And again, as you're chiming in tonight, I'm going to be monitoring the computer screen tonight as questions come in. So feel free to drop them in. I will be doing my best to toggle back and forth between what the questions are and then of course my notes for tonight. So as it relates to you getting clients and putting yourself in a position to where your ideal clients, and I think that's the key here. For a lot of service providers that I come into contact with, they are overwhelmed with clients that they work with that are a pain in the you-know-whats. They're actually spending a lot more time than they are getting paid for the work. And so if you're in a position to really want to zero in on people that are going to like put themselves in a premium offer that you are putting out there, these tips that I'm sharing tonight will actually help posture you as a service provider to be in that place of, look, I am a premium service provider. I'm not just going to bend over backwards and work for pennies on the dollar. I mean, I used to do that. I used to work with so many clients because when I first started my business, I wasn't really clear about what it was that I wanted to serve, or who I wanted to serve, I should say. And I really wasn't specific about the type of like programs or services I could really support them with. So I just really fell into this generalism of, I'm a business coach, and if you have any aspect of growing your business, I can help you with that. Well, it wasn't before too long where people were contacting me about things that weren't really in my wheelhouse, but because I felt like, hey, you know what, I'm new to business, the name of the game is cash flow, the name of the game is getting more clients, I really thought I would be a disservice to myself if I didn't try to support them. And what I found out in that process was I was really burning myself out. I was creating things on the fly. I was offering programs and services. I was like telling people, oh yeah, like I can help you with that. When really I was just doing whatever I could to keep myself in front of that person, to keep getting them to pay me, to work with them on an ongoing basis. So, you know, when about a year or so into that rat race of really just creating based off of what people were saying, and it didn't have really any rhyme or reason, I really had to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that I love? What is it that really fuels me? What is it that comes effortless to me? Who do I really want to help? And how do I want to help them? My goodness, I mean, how do I really want to show up and support people so I feel like I'm having fun at work again, right? I mean, if you feel fulfilled and you feel like you're having a lot of fun, then it doesn't feel like work, right? And you know what? I'm not saying that we're all here to like slough off and not work, but you know, there is this element of finding joy in what it is that you do. And so tonight, the tips I really want to share with you, I'm hoping will get you back on track, especially if you're feeling like, you know what, I'm working way too hard for the return of investment that I'm getting. I'm feeling drained every time I go to work. I really just don't like what I'm doing anymore. Like I thought I did, but you know, maybe I need to regroup. So if any of this is connecting with any of you tonight, again, I'm going to give you some ideas on what we can do to really get back on track so you can get your client pipeline filled up with the people that you really want to work with. And again, if you're feeling like in anything you're doing right now, clients aren't coming as fast as you want to, hey Ty, thanks for the comment. You are totally going to want to jam in on this. And one other final thing, if you're hopping on here, and if this is something that you know some of your business friends need to connect to, maybe you're finding that you have a posse or a tribe of people that are complaining about these issues, then I would be so grateful if you shared this along with them tonight as well. So let's dive right on in to what we're here to talk about, which again, reasons why your clients aren't coming to you as fast, or I should say your ideal clients aren't coming to you as fast. So number one, I kind of alluded to it earlier in my own personal story. You're not necessarily, reason why they're not coming as fast is because you're not necessarily clear about who you serve and what you help them with. So if we are constantly putting messages out there that we can serve everybody, or we can do everything in the scope of the category or the industry that you work in, what ends up happening is a lot of people don't really know how to work with you. They get kind of confused as to what you can do to support them. And let me tell you where this really slows you down. This really slows you down in the referral aspect. So when you are, let's say you're networking, I know a lot of you that have been coming on here, I've met you through networking events, whether they're social networking, like social media networking events, or they're actually in-person networking events. And what ends up happening is when we start telling those people at a networking event, oh, I do this, and I do this and this and this and this and this. Well, a referral source, like let's try to put yourself in the footsteps of your referral source, or that person that might potentially refer you business. What ends up happening is they don't really know where to go with you. They don't really have a succinct, oh my gosh, like this person has to talk, like the next person I talk to really needs to talk to whatever your name is, right? So it really behooves you to, at networking events, to get very specific, or even on social media, to get very specific about what it is that you offer, or what is it that you do. Like specifically, like what's the service that you provide, and who do you support with that service? And I know for a lot of you who are like multi-passionate, you have a lot of ways that you can support people. I'm not suggesting that you pick one horse and ride it forever. What I am suggesting though is you pick one horse and ride it until you get results in it. Do you follow me? So if we are constantly changing the name of the game every single time we're going out there and marketing, especially if you're like like in full disclosure, tonight, I'm going to be telling you about it once we're like done and chatting and really giving you guys some framework as to what you can do next. Some of you are going to want to get to work with me on a deeper level on this stuff. So I'm going to share with you how you can do that. For a lot of you that are watching this live, like you almost have to have that, like, okay, you know what, this is what I'm doing, this is who I serve, and this is how you can refer me if you're talking in a networking setting, if you're talking in a social media post. So having a real clear picture of what you offer and who you offer it for is going to be your best bet, okay? The number two reason why you're probably not getting in front of the clients that you want to get in front of faster is that you are not in front of the people that are likely to say yes to your offer. And let me give you an example of what I mean by this. A while back, I was working with a particular client of mine who was a travel agent. She still is a travel agent. And one of the things that she really wanted people to remember her for, or to refer her for, were these luxury travel trips, these luxury lifetime bucket list experience kind of trips. And what was happening was that every single thing she was doing to position herself in front of people, they were people that were more likely to go on a cruise versus going on a luxury bucket list experience. Nothing wrong with people who want to go on a cruise, but it's a very different, if you've ever booked a cruise, or if you've ever booked like a very special trip, like, you know the difference, right? You know that and in fact, here's the deal. In the cruise, I didn't know this until I started working with her, but when you work with a travel agent, you're not necessarily paying them. Like the vendor who that travel agent is working with to book your trip, like, they compensate the travel agent. So no extra funds come out of your pocket to do that. But one of the things that kept coming up for her was that she was doing more work, in fact, in some cases, more work booking that travel or the cruise, versus booking the luxury travel experience, and the cruise was paying her pennies on the dollar in commission, whereas these people that were, wanting to do like the Egyptian pyramids, let's say, or an African safari, she's still having to put in the same amount of details in terms of all the paperwork and all the documents and everything else. But the people over here on these luxury experiences, they were compensating her better for those efforts. So if you are not positioning yourself in front of rooms that are going to likely take you up on your premium offer, you are doing yourself a major disservice. The other example I could give to this is, and this is actually a sporting or a fishing analogy, but if you are, let's say you are primed to fish for salmon, like you have all the equipment, you are the best salmon fisherman in the world, but if you're trying to fish for salmon in the Gulf of Mexico, it ain't happening. So you've got to understand, whatever it is that you're doing to posture yourself. So that scenario should mean, you might be the best at whatever it is that you do, but if you're putting yourself in a room full of people that ain't into it, you're wasting your time. So be sure that you're posturing yourself, your premium service, in front of the rooms that, and this is physically and even in social, whatever you're doing to advertise or promote your business, make sure that message is getting in front of the people that are meant to hear it. And if you're not clear about what that means for you, think about the people, and this is a little bonus exercise I want to give you. Think about the people that are already talking to your ideal client. So whatever, in the first scenario, whatever your ideal offer is, whatever that ideal client who is going to love that offer, who are the people that are already servicing them, who's already taking care of them. And that's a good way to maybe start thinking about, okay, well, instead of me trying to go into a networking event, or me going into a social media group, or me trying to promote myself on these different channels in front of everybody, why don't I start with people that are already networking or building a relationship with my ideal client? So, and if you don't know what that means for you, if you want a little bit of help, drop a message in here. I'd love to brainstorm this tonight as well. Hey, Diana. Hey, Julie. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, So moving right along, number 3. So the number 3 reason why, and these aren't in any particular order, I just wanted to put them out there tonight for you. But another reason why you might not be getting the clients that you want faster is that you're not necessarily engaging with your audience on a consistent level. So with that said, I'm going to block this really quick because I just want to make sure that I'm text free tonight. What I mean by that is you can do this in a social media standpoint. You can do this in a in-person networking standpoint. You can do this with your e-newsletter, like however you're posturing your engagement. So whether, and I'm not talking about, hey Ed, how are you? I'm not talking about you constantly pitching yourself out there, because like even in the networking scenario, when you're meeting with people, I'm really all about building the relationship first. So if you don't have an engagement plan, if you are not, and even if you do, even if you have like an idea of how you're going to stay top of mind or stay in front of the people that are either going to want to work with you or that could refer you business, we have to be aware that there is a sequence. There's this element of staying top of mind in front of these people with a place of service and support first, and then asking for the sale. And sale doesn't necessarily always mean that you're asking for the actual, the agreement or the contract, right? It could mean that you're just asking for the invitation to take the next step with that person. But by golly, putting yourself out there in an engaged situation, like consistently going to, and I'm not saying that you go to 27 different networking events. I'm not saying you have to post 27 trillion times a day on social media, or nor do you have to send an e-newsletter out to your people once a day. I'm saying whatever it is that you're doing, be sure that you're consistent with those efforts, that you're dialed into the conversation, meaning that it's not always about you, it's about them as well too. And then really just mapping out, like, well, what does that mean? Carving out the specific time. I'll talk about time in a minute, but just making sure that you're staying connected with the people that are going to either refer you or they could potentially be a client. You've got to stay in front of them. I was just talking with somebody the other day, and her engagement strategy was literally just maybe reaching out once a week on social media. And you know what? Statistically, it takes 5 to 12 touches for people to take the next step with you. That doesn't mean that they're going to take the next step in terms of buying your service, right? That means that they are going to take the next step in doing the consult with you. They're going to take the next step in reviewing what you have. They're going to take the next step in, something else. And then they're finally going to get to the sale, So it's really behooves you to really understand what it's going to take for you to stay engaged and connected with your audience. So be sure that you have an engagement plan for your audience. Hey, Melody. Hey, Allison. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's see what the comments say. Oh my goodness. Okay, good stuff. Ty, you are rocking it, my friend. Hopefully you're still on here. So thank you for those comments. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and Ty, see you saying, yes, the man that catches many rabbits catches none. Absolutely. So went back on my comment earlier in the night. So number 4, moving right along, the number 4 reason why you're not necessarily getting clients faster. This is actually one of my favorite ones to mention because it's such an easy one to work around. But the thing is that if we're not taking the time to leverage other people's audiences, that might be an indicator of why we're not getting clients faster. Perfect case and example, I've been teasing on in my Facebook group, Purpose Driven Professionals. If you're not already a member of that group, I highly recommend you come over and join me over in that community, Purpose Driven Professionals. But I even teased this on my personal page this week about people who are wanting to speak more, people that are wanting to live stream more, people that want to get on podcasts more, people that want to guest blog more. All of these things that I just mentioned are ways for you to get in front of somebody else's audience. When I first started, actually, I would even say back like 6 years ago when I was still working for another organization before I started my company, one of the things that we had to do, or that I had to do specifically, was to speak in front of audiences and talk about the programs and services my organization offered. And then what I did was I went to different organizations that already had an audience, right? I was invited on behalf of the company that I worked for to go in and share valuable information with somebody else's audience, and then let them know that I could continue to be a resource for them if they chose to continue the conversation with me. So you could do the same thing. You could start locally if you're not doing it already. I know that depending on where you live, I know not all areas are created equal, but depending on where you live, there are lots of organizations that they meet on a weekly basis, and they actually need speakers on a weekly basis. So if you have a topic that's relevant to, and again, you'd have to be sure that you're making that topic relevant to the audience that you're speaking in front of. It doesn't make any sense, like if you can't serve a retired community and you're, like if you're going in and talking about business and like everybody in that room is retired, that's not going to work. If you are like going in and talking about how you can like really, let's say, leverage your insurance. I'm just making this up as I go. If you, what's a really good topic? Well, like, okay, for instance, like if you were, let's say, an insurance agent and you wanted to show realtors how they could get their clients to buy more of a home because their insurance costs were less, because you were working specifically with an insurance agent, let me say that slower, that was strategizing with the realtor, and the realtor could actually get more bang for their buck by making sure that their client is lined up with the right insurance costs for the home they want to buy. That would be a really cool way to, that would be a cool topic, so an insurance agent going into a room of realtors, that totally makes sense. A room full of CPAs, that is tremendous for a wealth advisor, right? Wealth advisors and CPAs and estate planning attorneys, like those all go hand in hand. So being sure that whatever it is that you're bringing, you might have a valuable thing that you're talking about, and making sure that your audience is congruent with your message. So I told you I suggested maybe a few ways to look up. Actually, I didn't. I'm remiss. I did not tell you how you could do this. So locally, what you could do is start Googling the thing that you like, maybe the audience that you want to serve and the area that you live in, with the word luncheon or the word meeting or the word networking, and see what kind of populates for your specific area. That is a good place to start. I speak a lot on podcasts. I've said this before in other live streams, but I speak on, generally speaking, since I've started my company back in 2015, I've been fortunate and gifted enough to grace either podcast, webinars, conferences, workshops, over 200 platforms in the 4 short years that I've been in business. And it's been because I've leveraged those other opportunities. So like on a podcast, if I was invited to speak on my topic on a podcast, you better believe that I was letting people know on my newsletter and on my social media platforms that I did those things. Not only did it edify the podcast host and it edified me as an expert, but it also drew some more eyeballs on what I was doing as a service provider, and anybody else in my industry who was looking for a speaker or looking for a guest on their podcast or was looking for somebody to write something in their publication. Like, who do you think they thought of? They thought of me. So you could do the same thing. Podcast opportunities, guest blogging, those are all free things that you could be doing. Thanks, Melody. It is a super good tip. And so Jackie, hey, thanks for joining, my friend. So those are all things you could leverage against each other in a positive way, and all of them are free. All of them are free. You don't have to pay a single dime for that. If you are getting charged, like if somebody, I've had this happen a lot in the podcasting world. If you are being approached to pay for those opportunities, run. run away. If it's an influencer thing, totally different ball game. But for most cases, when you are being asked to be a guest on somebody's show, there are so many people that will seek you out all day, every day. You do not pay for those opportunities. Generally speaking, in my experience, when I find out those people are charging, they're generally not legit. So, so just be mindful of that. Okay, so leverage other people's audiences. That is a great way to get in front of more clients, your ideal clients, faster. Number 5, and this is the one I want to wrap up with tonight before I tell you all about some other really cool things that are coming around the bend that I think would really add value to what you're doing out there in the market. But number 5, the number 5th, that doesn't make any sense. But the 5th reason you might not be getting the clients that you want to work with faster is because you're not making the time to generate those leads. So everything that I just mentioned tonight is going to take you time. If you are not blocking out specifically time in your day to generate leads, to drum up conversations, to pick up the phone, seek those opportunities, my stars, you are missing the boat. So what I highly recommend that you do is every day apply time in your calendar. And I don't care if you have to get up early. Hey, Shannon, thanks for joining. I don't care if you have to get up a half hour earlier to make it happen, okay? Like, because here's the deal. Sleep deprivation, that's temporary. And if you already get up early enough as it is, that might be a wake-up call. I'm gonna keep it real for a minute. That might be a wake-up call for you to assess, like, what is it that you gotta do to really ensure that you're prioritizing the time to generate leads. If you're not taking the time to, again, reach out to your contact list, reach out to your current client list, carve out time to go to networking events, carve out time to reach out to speakers or podcast hosts, like those opportunities won't come to you. You've got to position yourself. Well, actually, that's kind of a lie. They do come to you, but only when you actually put forth the work to like actually get it. I had an opportunity that literally came out of the blue yesterday. It was a webinar that I'm going to be doing in a couple weeks for a statewide organization. That totally came out of the blue, but it came out of the blue because number one, I'm constantly in the flow of moving into people's minds. I mean, I don't get attached. I don't get like attached to the outcome on that. I'm just constantly like putting myself out there. And the other thing is this person that reached out to me to do this webinar, like I had partnered with her 4 years ago on something entirely different. So she remembered me in that partnership and she was like, oh my gosh, I would really love to have Erica back. So, let's see, Melody, what are you saying here? Okay, I'm gonna read actually down here because I can't read all your thing. I'm gonna wait for it to come up on my laptop. So I promise I will get back to it. But you know, just know that opportunities don't come unless you go seek them out, unless you are putting yourself out there on the energy. And again, they will come to you if you put yourself out there. They'll come up in like mysterious ways, but you can't just sit back like complacent and sit on the sidelines with that. You've got to really posture yourself in front of people and make the time to engage, talk, you know, work out deals to where you can get on other people's stages. The other thing you want to make time for, and this is actually so critical if you're not making the time for it, promise me you will do it tonight. You can start tomorrow, I guess, because we are kind of late tonight, depending on where you're watching this. But it behooves you to take time to get super duper clear about your offer. So much of this stuff starts with you knowing who you help, why you help them. Because everything else that we just talked about tonight, your speaking opportunities, your podcasting opportunities, where you go network, where you spend your time to put yourself out there in front of opportunities that are going to position you in front of more clients. Like it all starts there. So if you don't have that, if you don't have a real crystal clear vision of what your offer looks like, that could be where you need to invest the time first. And so what I want to share with you tonight, and this is, like I said, the reason why I'm coming in here tonight is because number one, I find that when I do stuff like this, I find that there are just, you know, I'm coming on the tail, or I'm coming off the back end, I should say, of a number of conversations I'm having with people who are all like tripping out about some of these things, okay? So if client attraction is something that you're struggling with right now on any front, like, and you might be crushing it in some aspects of client attraction, but if it's not consistent, or it's not flowing, or you're not working with the clients that really value what you do, there's a disconnect in the promise and in the process. And I've given you some ideas on where you can start digging into that process. But the next piece of this is, you know, where do you go from there? Like what, you know, so if you know that your offer is a little off, but you're inside of your head, because you see it from your perspective and it's a little hard for you to see it from your client's perspective. I get it. I mean, we can only see what we see, right? We're generally inside of our own forest. It's so hard sometimes to see what is around the forest to really be able to help save us. So if that's you, if you're feeling like, gosh, you know what, I could really use some extra support on pulling myself into that place where I feel like I'm right in front of my clients and I'm doing that on a consistent level. I know that my message is getting heard loud and clear to the people that are meant to hear it. I've got a couple things I'm rolling out in the next few weeks. One is a group initiative, which is going to be super fantastic because it is a great way for you to get not only my wisdom and coaching and expertise on some of your biggest challenges as it relates to client attraction, but also the collective wisdom of other people who are willing to, number one, invest time and energy and money into what you're investing time, money, and energy to. I find that that is the greatest allies in my development is when I surround myself with rockstar people who are on a mission to kick butt, take names. So that group initiative, I'm very excited about that. We're launching that. I'm looking at the big calendar I have in my living room. Yes, I have a calendar in my living room. We're looking at the first week of May when we're launching that. So if that's something that excites you, you want to maybe learn a little bit more about that. I'm not really ready to like roll out all the details yet, but we're actually advancing a 2.0 version of a program that I offered a little while ago to really help people really get in that sense of, okay, hey, how can we boost our brand? How can we elevate our brand in front of the people that are meant to hear it, but doing it through collective brain power? Again, with my expertise as a coach, some of you guys actually know this, but you know, besides me being in my business since 2015, I have had over 2 decades of experience in helping service providers and companies positioning them in front of their ideal clients. So I'm pretty stoked about that program that we're going to be offering. The other thing I wanted to kind of drop in here tonight, just so it's top of mind for you all, especially if you're really perplexed on some deeper issues. So maybe you're in a position to where you're wanting to create a more solid game plan with your offers. Maybe you've got an existing business right now, but you know you need to shake things up. You know you need to take it to the next level and you're really not for sure how you're going to do that. One of the things that I just started opening back up on my schedule are our Master Your Message days. These are impactful days where literally you and I are carving out what your next 90 days looks like as it relates to you growing and developing your business in a thoughtful and compelling way. There's support on the other side of those days, but it's an intense day for people that really want to master their message in an artful way. They want to get in front of, they want to take their client base to the next level. They're done with, they're maybe done with some specific clients that they're working with, and they're wanting to explore some premium offers. They're wanting to get in front of different markets, and they're not really for sure how to do that. There's all sorts of crazy things that we do, depending on your specific needs in the Master Your Message Day. But but that's something that I haven't been offering because I had some other commitments on my calendar where I couldn't carve out days at a time to do that. But I am opening up my schedule again for the Master Your Message intensives. Again, that is a perfect experience for people that are wanting to holistically take a look at what the gaps are in their current business model, especially as it relates to client attraction. I won't be able to budget your books that day. That's not my jam. But if there's any missing pieces to your message, if you're feeling like it's not connecting with you, you know it's not connecting with your audience because you're not in front of the right people. You're not in front of the right resources to get you out there. And you want to really amp it up. You want to take it to that next level. I invite you to, if either one of those programs sound like they would be your jam. Again, the group, we're not opening up until the first week in May. Master Your Message, I'm actually taking appointments for that, but it's a very specific person I'm looking for in that. But if you're curious about either one of those opportunities to up level your business, let's talk. Either private message me, you can drop your comments in the comments section of this video to let me know that that's something you want to explore with me. Happy to hop on a quick call and figure out where you're at in the process so we can up level your results as it relates to creating the business and life that you absolutely desire. So again, feel free to message me if you are wanting some additional support. I'd love to guide you in that process to really help you find meaning back in your work again. Really put yourself in that driver's seat to really rock and roll as it relates to growing your business in a thriving and thoughtful and compelling way. So good, Jackie. I'd love to reconnect with you, sister. It's been a little while since we've done that. So Care Bear, I'm so excited you're up past your bedtime. That just makes me smile. Eric might be mad at me for for you being up past your bedtime. I'm totally kidding. But anyway, I'm just so grateful that you all hung in there with me tonight. Thank you so much for chiming in live. And again, if you've got any specific questions on how we can take your business and life to that next level of awesomeness, I'd love to be your support guide in the process. So message me or put your comments in the comment section and I will reach out and we'll figure out a way to connect, okay? So you guys rock. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Until next time, America Castner, take care.